So I want to give an overview of wall installations. Wall installations are a great way to change the dynamic of a room, either for like an art opening or something like that, or for obviously advertising for like stores, all that kind of stuff. So what's nice about wall installations is the installation part is easy, okay? Generally you're applying on a very flat surface, maybe a moderate curve, but for the most part, flat walls, easy to install. The biggest things you have to think about when you're prepping the wall are a lot of the walls, when they're painted and stuff like that, have these little things which are affectionately termed like snot. So what you have to do is you first have to take off the snot. So when prepping the wall before you clean or anything like that, you get a scraper and you can just gently go on the wall. You can do this with a plastic scraper or a metal scraper. And again, most of the time you have to realize that when you take the wall off, it's going to be repainted. So you can do something like this and make sure you make it as flat as possible. Okay, so you can do that over the course of the entire wall, so make it as smooth as possible. And you're going to have slight indentations or slight raised areas and stuff like that. Walls are never quite perfect, but generally the material that you're putting on is a calendar film, and that brings me to the material that you're going to generally apply the walls with, is with calendar film. Calendar is made for flat surfaces, and calendar film always comes at a great price point, so you don't have to use high premium cast film for this. Calendar film is great. Okay, and do you have to laminate the calendar film? Well, if you're if the walls are going to be applied in a low traffic area where not a lot of people are going to be touching the wall, you don't have to laminate the film. Okay, so that means obviously lowers the price point quite a bit. But if you're going to be in a high traffic area, like this wall is going to be used for a gallery opening, then you definitely want to laminate it. You can either use matte or gloss or satin, whatever the client prefers. So those are the main factors that you want to think about when prepping the wall. Once you kind of clean the snot off, okay, then you want to go down and wipe the wall down, make sure it's not super clean, okay, especially the edges. Again, painted surfaces have a fairly low surface energy, so obviously the cleaner the better. Once you clean here, obviously what goes on the ground is dirt, okay, so you want to make sure that, especially around this area, you want to make sure that you get all the dirt off the ground, because when you're pulling the panels off, that dirt will suck right on, especially if you're in the wintertime where you have a low electrostatic charge on the film. So make sure you sweep as much dirt away from the wall as possible. Maybe clean the bottom again just to be safe, because some of that dirt kicks up in the air and gets on the wall. And then you're ready to go. Okay, now the biggest thing you have to think about when you're prepping walls, though, is the paint. Okay, what's more and more happening today is a lot of the paint companies, and a lot of laws in certain countries and states and stuff like that. A lot of the paint that you have to use is what's called no VOC, okay, the volatile organic compounds, okay, and what that is doing to the to wall installations is that the wall film doesn't apply or doesn't adhere as well, if at all, to paint that has no VOCs, okay, so that's definitely becoming an issue. So what you need to do is, if you have any question whether beforehand you don't know for sure if the paint used was no VOCs or had VOCs, is you want to apply the film and let it sit for 1 or 2 days. If the material sticks, then you're in good shape. If not, then you have to really study the bulletins from the manufacturer that you're applying the film, like whoever's making the film, and see what they recommend for paint that has no VOCs. Okay, this is definitely something you need to do a little research on, because the problem again with VOC, if you have no paint with VOCs, normal paint with VOCs, once you paint it, you have to make sure the paint dries. So you generally have 48 hours to let the paint dry. Otherwise, if you don't let it dry in time and you put the film on, you go to pick it back up, the paint comes up on the adhesive and then you're done. You can't fix that. So with normal paint, 24, 48 hours, then you're good to go. With paint that has no VOCs, then you're getting into a totally different dynamic where some companies are saying between 24 and 36 days that you have to let the paint off gas before you can apply the film. This is definitely creating a logjam, in the sense that if you have a new shop that's opening up and they want wall graphics, to wait 36 days is going to be it's not going to fit within their time frame. So you definitely have to do a little research and definitely find out what film goes properly on the walls. Okay, but again, wall installs are a really great way to apply a change of space. Really economical. It can be very profitable. So good luck with the walls, and that's it.